Hello everyone, this is the Child Bride review with Apollo Z. Hagan. This, the intro was, okay, what happened with this, because it goes straight into it rather than having an intro, I did write an intro for it, but I sent Apollo the wrong draft of the script, which had no intro, so we were missing the intro, and we were missing a few jokes. We were missing probably about 6 or 7 jokes, which were decent jokes, and I wish I hadn't missed them. But, you know, it was my problem, my fault, so that's why this one is so damn abrupt. Just starts off like it does. I wish it hadn't happened that way, but what can I do? Well, in future I can not fuck up, I suppose. Child Bride. Yes, Mystery Science Theater 3000 did decide to review this, then they watched it and decided not to review it. And you can guess why. Apollo, he himself, he's not too fond of his performance in this. He doesn't think it came off very well. I think he's fine. You know, Apollo, he, like all great artists, well, not all great artists, like all people who are worth a damn, he is not convinced that his work is the bomb. He is not convinced that his work is awesomely beyond brilliant. Anyone who thinks their work is like that is usually a complete twat. And Apollo is not a twat, and he doesn't think like that. He's very humble about it, how he does his stuff, and he's convinced that it's not very good. I think it's fine. Other people might have other arguments. This scene, him trying to swear, I wrote him saying fuck through the entire script. And he asked me if he could change that because he just felt it was right for the character, and he ad-libbed this entire thing. This is apparently everyone's most favorite part of the review, and he ad-libbed it completely. That's all on Apollo, not me. Memes. It's yeah. Child Bride is one of those films that you can't believe was made. It's the sort of thing that, especially the part I blank out, that you would not get made today. Well, it might, but the people who make it would probably be investigated for things. It's... oh man. You know, as far as I understand it, this film is illegal in a lot of countries in the world. Not illegal, it's just not being released uncut. You know? My copy is from it was imported from a complete moral cesspool called the United States of America. Dun dun dun. How I got the people to do these things. Okay, I came up with the idea of doing these leaping things, and I came up with a secondary idea in case I couldn't get anyone to do it. And I asked my first person, who was Obscura Slupa, and she basically said it was a great idea, she'd love to do it, but she didn't have time. And I figured after that, she's right, it's really, no one will be able to do this for me. It might be a good idea, but, you know, asking people to record an entire review for me, that is way too much to ask. Then I mentioned it off the cuff to either Owen or Apollo, I think it was Apollo, and he thought it was an awesome idea and wanted to do it. So it was like, okay, I've got one person, I gotta get 2 others. So the other one was either again Apollo or Owen, most likely Owen, I think. And then after my third, I really wanted a female reviewer for the third one. So I contacted a couple of people. I couldn't get anyone. I think people didn't get my emails or whatever. So finally, I asked Sin to do it, because Sin knew that I was doing the project, and he really wanted to do one. He knew that I was searching for a female one, but I couldn't get one. And I finally asked him. And he was fine with it. He didn't feel second fiddle as far as I could tell. He realized that I wanted some diversity. But, you know, as I state at the start of the Terror of Tiny Town review, you know, Sin barely counts as a man in a way. But yeah, at school. I don't know why their song is Jingle Bells, but it is. I don't know why that guy looks like a shaved gorilla. I don't know. He's like that guy in Turkey shit. Just random giants. And whenever I said about, you know, rural Appalachia, and, well, I didn't say it, well, I wrote it, Apollo said it, and, you know, gunshots can mean everything from hello to, oh my god, the cave dwellers are attacking. That was a reference to The Descent, where there are cave dwellers living in Appalachia. Awesome film, nearly perfect. Yep, there was. Oh, this advert coming up. Yes, this is an actual advertisement for Appalachian State University. I found out about it on TV Tropes at the same time as writing Child Bride's review, and it was like, oh, how serendipitous! I gotta use this somewhere. It's oh man, poor Appalachian State University, and I didn't realize that Appalachian was a state. And this guy, I realized during the editing that I actually didn't give any closure to their story at the end of this review. They decide to get married, and then the woman's like, even though my favorite student is about to be forced into a marriage, and even though the law has just changed to make child marriage illegal, I'm not going to go and stop the marriage. Instead, I'm going to run off and get married to my boyfriend who looks like a melted George Clooney puppet. Lack of rounding up in these films. It's crazy. These films, they don't come to a conclusion, they just stop. Yes, I feel the need to stop child marriage only so I can get my end away. I must use my pork sword through your gates of contrition. Such a noble man. Seriously, one of the lines that was actually in the draft I didn't send Apollo was basically me being a bit moralistic about this guy. That the only reason this guy decides to make child rape illegal is because he's promised sex. If you need to be promised sex before you try to make child rape illegal, then seriously, fuck you, dude. Now, in Owen's commentary, he talked about how he thought it was interesting that Hagan has a weird moral code. I don't know if he was saying that generally or just about freaks, but Hagan has always had a weird moral code. It's just one of the things I deliberately laced into the character. A lot of the sort of moral, whenever Hagan goes on a moral sort of stand, I just figured it's a bit more interesting just a one-dimensional person who wants to kill everyone, who's just evil, evil, evil. So, rather than trying to create an individual moral code for Hagan, what I did was I made Hagan pretty much have, when it came to moral and ethical issues, similar views to myself, because I figured I'm going to be more three-dimensional than any character I come up with. I'm not going to be able to make something as complex as myself, so I just sort of transplanted them. And it had the side effect of making Hagan a strangely liberal, peacenicky person for a psychotic, mass-murdering, evil cunt. And redneck fight. Yeah, the guy who got beaten up is actually the guy who ends up trying to marry her. And apparently he gets shot by Angelo for simply that scene. For throwing him into the water. And I still don't know why they're going after the school teacher. Oh yeah, this scene is so fucking boring. You can barely see what's going on when you have a black background with people wearing black against it, and the two black shades look exactly the same, and you have a bad quality image. You can't fucking see what's going on. It took me a long time to work out what was going on in that scene. And I don't know. And one thing that all three of the possession actors did, it amused me quite a bit. They would tend to start saying the lines when they were looking off screen, and then you know try to say the line as quick as possible, so they say them when they're still moving. Which is actually something that I would do in quite a lot of my earlier reviews, because it was just, because Hagan requires a certain amount of energy to say the lines properly on screen. So you want to get going as fast as possible. So you say them before you're actually right back in place, and it looks like you're sort of jumping into the frame, which is what they did as well. And I'm not complaining. I think it's reminiscent of the earlier Hagan stuff. It just made it a little bit more difficult to edit. And this scene, what's happening right now is a 12-year-old girl stripping off naked while talking to this guy, and you see nearly everything. And then later on, she jumps into the water, swims around, skinny dipping, and through the water you see everything. And she's getting watched by the guy who wants to marry her. He's watching from a cliff, and this old lady's saying things like, "I know what you're aiming at." And he's like, "Oh, hush your fuss." And the old lady talks about how pretty she is, and because, talking about how pretty 12-year-old girls are when they're naked is apparently okay in rural Appalachia in the 30s. But yeah, that's the scene that made the film infamous. Rightly so, to be fair. And that, the ah-ahs, is all of the sex noises that I could find from my archive of footage that I'd used in previous reviews, all layered lovely with porn music to try and make it sound even worse than it is. Obviously, producers, and there we have Better Than Chocolate, the classic lesbian Canadian romantic comedy. Let your mind wander a bit. Apollo does great there. All three of them did a different sort of take on Hagan. Owen did the most impression-y impression. Sin sort of did Apollo did the least, and Sin did sort of a hybrid between the two. All of them are fine. I actually expected all to do Apollo type things, to be more, or Sin type things, because I wanted it to be more of a hybrid between the two. Like, I wanted to get, them to change the words around so that it would be more like them. I wanted them to change their the script a bit to more fit themselves, basically to make it like it's not just Hagan possessing their body, it's Hagan and them merging in some level. And all three of them, to some extent, did change their scripts. Apollo was obviously the most extreme with changing all the fucks to fracks and changing things like references to gorillas to references to wampas. And they all did beautifully. And oh no, Daddy's dead. Oh man, child died. So I'm sorry I don't talk as much. This would be a lot more interesting if I had a co-written person to talk with. I suppose I can, I could try and do a commentary, I suppose, with each of the reviewers, individually, but that would be quite hard to set up. Although, whenever if and when I run into them, I might be able to do a commentary with them. If we're together, that would be cool. It'd be a lot more interesting than me just, rambling, because I'm not very good at these by myself. I need someone to play off, damn it. Or I need to script it. I should have scripted this. That would have been hilarious. That guy, in that shot, he looks like evil Bruce Campbell. He never looks like evil Bruce Campbell again. Just in that one shot, he looks like evil Bruce Campbell. And I don't understand why no one in Appalachia investigates murders on any level. What the hell are they doing? A guy's been stabbed at least twice, and they find him at the bottom of a ravine. Do they not consider foul play? Do they not have a sheriff? Do they not have anyone? Do they let the fucking dog investigate the murders? It's fucking insane. Yeah, whenever it looked like I couldn't do this project idea, I came up with a backup idea. which I only got a little bit into, but it was even stranger than this. It would have featured Hagan quantum leaping into famous people, and having the famous people played by people in my usual troupe of actors. Well, troupe of actors, the minions. And it would have featured Alistair appearing a la Al from Quantum Leap, so it would have been co-reviews between Alistair and this other person. The only one I came up with was Quantum Leaping with... Hagan Quantum Leaps into Alan Moore, and Alan Moore is being played by Terry, and Alistair would have appeared there. But though Terry is on record as saying he hates the Quantum Leap idea, he hated that idea, he hates these reviews that came out, he thinks it's a bad idea, he thinks it's a stupid gimmick, he's not happy at all with them. But, he's entitled to his opinion, and I'm entitled to mine. I think they came out I think they're interesting, they're an experiment, I don't hate any of them, which is quite interesting, because I quite often do hate my reviews. I think they're interesting and good. And a couple of people have actually asked me if they can do one as well at some point, even though Hagan's going to be not dead shortly. So I came up with this idea that if people, later on, when I'm partway through Series 3, I will talk to them, and pretty much if people want to, they could discuss it with me, and I will possibly write and edit additional Hagan Quantum Leap episodes, which can be inserted into the continuity between these three, and obviously the Robert Million one in the Critic TV episode. Because, as far as I'm concerned, there were other leaps that were never seen, and they can be seen later on, if people want to. So if you're listening to this, if you want to do one, contact me, we'll talk about it. I can't promise that I'll say yes, because it is a lot of work writing and editing these, probably about 20 or 30 hours, and I've got my other stuff I do as well. But I'll at least talk about it. Oh, coming up, I stand by, this is the finest use of the line from Shark Attack 3 ever. No one has come up with a better use for this. Damn right. So yeah, Child Bride. Enough meandering from me. This review is coming to an end. This film is... it's fucking bizarre. I don't know how they got it made. If you want to see it, check it out. But be prepared to feel dirty afterwards. And, you can see reviews for this and for Terror of Tiny Town on the review site badmovies.net, I think it is, or it might be badmovies.org. It's got green font all over it. You got an archive of, bad films, and Terror of Tiny Town and Child Bride are both reviewed there. They're very funny reviews. Check it out. They might have Freaks as well, I'm not sure. They've got a bunch of other films, Evil Dead 2, Toxic Avenger, Brain Dead, bunch of them. They have a great archive. Yeah, we're missing the intro for Apollo's one. Basically, the intro had Apollo doing something Apollo-ish, Hagan leaps in, as per usual, and then we see Hagan coming in with the makeup on, and talking about how, man, Apollo has a big cock, no matter him and Ares fuck a lot. And that was pretty much it. And if I wasn't an idiot, you would have seen that. Apologies. Well, I'll see you very soon for the Terror of Tiny Town commentary, if in fact you watch that next.